Ghana Armed Forces investigating this matter. The concerns mostly have to do with the fact that this chopper belonged to the military. These officers were staff of the military. And so investigating your own, most often than not, does not allow for that level of transparency you would want to see. Do you share similar concerns, or are you convinced that with the Ghana Armed Forces investigating same, we'll get the best outcome?
No, I'm of a different opinion. I think that trust is needed in everything that we do as a country. When you go for military training, when you go for security training in any of the services, you know that you are not just an ordinary civilian, because now you're a uniformed person.
Yeah.
And I continually hold trust and confidence in the Ghana Armed Forces. I believe that they will be able to investigate this matter very, very clearly and be able to advise us as a country. I mean, if the facts come to bear that they cannot be able to even put that publicly, I think that they should not deny the president and the national security team the real truth of what transpired. I think that is very, very important. And so I would ask for them to go ahead with their investigation. I don't think that there is any need to bring in an external person out of this country to do any investigation, unless, of course, they don't have what it takes.
But as we have collaborated with the DNA analysis, can we do same with
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's very open. I mean, this is of national interest, and so it's very open for us to collaborate with other investigators that have the requisite skills and knowledge and expertise to be able to do this. But I would ask that the Ghana Armed Forces leads the investigation. But you know what, Nana? Do you realize that in all of our security protocols, if the president is moving, he has a very good convoy, including the ambulance? I'm just trying to bring our attention to some of the issues that Elvis raised in terms of the Ghana National Fire Service having a chopper that is able to spray water. How is it that we have a military plane or a helicopter that carries state officials, regardless of who, and the flight goes alone? I recall that when Russia invaded Ukraine, each time President Zelensky travels, there are 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 other planes that go with him. So as we look at our protocols on ground, which is the land, where the president goes with various vehicles and there's an ambulance, we need to look at our protocols in the air, such that if there are any evacuation processes, even in the air, it can be done. And we need to move that as well to the ocean, marine. Because you see, we are protected not just by land, we're protected across board, the air and the sea. So whilst we look at this, we need to have some extreme protocol measures that we put in place as a country. If a flight is moving, there should be an air ambulance that follows it. There should be an extra helicopter that follows it. So that in event that there is even any target, it becomes very difficult to identify which of the choppers has the MVPs, which is the most valuable persons in it. And so we need a lot of resources to do this. And so, which is why we don't need to politicize this. This parliament has an opportunity to protect the future of Ghana by ensuring that some measures are taken. Because much as we mourn the loss of these important people, it's also an extra cost to the country. So marry that cost with wanting to do the right thing. We would save lives. We would save people from mourning. We will save the distress of families. And so I want us to look at all of this. How is it that a chopper leaves and it leaves alone? And we anticipate that it will arrive because it's happened multiple times. But the fact that it's happened multiple times does not mean it's the right thing to be done. And I take guidance from Russia's invasion of Ukraine and how President Zelensky travels. We need to be able to have that. We appreciate the fact that we have a private jet owned by a Ghanaian in Ghana. But I would want to send some caution, really. Because, you see, we're talking about the sovereignty of the country. We're talking about how we must take care of ourselves as a country. Yes, it's good for people to own private planes. But we need to be able to separate some matters that are of national significance to private individuals. I admire and love, it's called Mr. Ibrahim, right?
Yeah.
I admire and love Mr. Ibrahim, his benevolence and his support. But if Mr. Ibrahim can afford a private jet, I think that the country can also afford a plane. Let's buy it. What prevents us from buying a plane that has the same specifications as that of Mr. Ibrahim? What if Mr. Ibrahim was not in Ghana? What if he had used his private jet to travel? What if the private jet was not available? So if we can afford it as a country, let's afford it. Let's buy our own plane. So that it's not as though we are always at the beck and call of private citizens. Okay, yes, maybe he didn't charge the state, which we thank him for it. But what if another instance will come where the private plane is not available, where we need to be able to transport something of national interest? We need to look at all of this, because today is President Mahama that is in government, whose brother owns a private jet. What will happen when President Mahama is not in government and another president is in government and the brother's plane is not available? So let's look at it in a broader scheme so that everyone can benefit from it for future events and instances.